VETtalk Radio is proudly supported by the Animal Referral Hospital.
This week.
Well, I've always wanted to be a vet, and when I heard about it, I was like, I need to do this because I just love animals and I really want to be a vet.
And now she just might be after the Future Vet Kids Camp 2016.
And have you ever thought of buying a horse?
I think the most important thing when you're looking at buying a horse is actually getting a vet check done. I mean, we don't buy a car without taking it to the mechanic and getting it checked over.
And what about goldfish? Can they really think?
One of the key research areas was one that was done with goldfish hitting a lever to allow food to come down and be fed.
Hi, I'm Brian Pickering.
And I'm Kaye Browne.
All those stories and more right here on VETtalk Radio. Thanks for joining us again, and as we mentioned last week, we'll update you when we're in iTunes. And guess what?
What?
We're in iTunes.
Yay!
That actually makes it really easy to subscribe to our weekly podcast, some of which even have pictures, but we'll tell you a little bit more about that soon.
Okay, cool. Well, through this show, we'll also have some pet and animal news updates, but we thought you might like to hear about a great concept called Future Vets Kids Camp. It's been going for 6 years and is getting bigger and better than ever. It's the brainchild of Dr. Scott Bainbridge and his wife, Andra. Have a listen. We'd love to know what you think.
Well, I've always wanted to be a vet, and when I heard about it, I was like, I need to do this because I just love animals and I really want to be a vet.
So many kids like the idea of becoming a vet, but don't know how to get started. Future Vet Kids Camp 2016 might just be the answer.
It's all about inspiring young minds to be promoted into the profession that I think is one of the best professions in the world, and that's veterinary medicine. It's also a way for us to help promote responsible pet ownership in children.
So what's going to be different about the camp in 2016?
So something really exciting and new we're doing this year. We're actually going to be taking the campers out to the Animal Referral Hospital in Sydney, and this is a state-of-the-art referral center that has many specialists on staff and also deals with emergency medicine as well. So that should be pretty exciting for the kids to kind of see that end of the profession.
Sounds like the kids are going to have a lot of fun.
They are. We're very excited this year, or the next year, that they're coming to us in January to see the Animal Referral Hospital. I think it's going to be very exciting for them. So who knows what they're going to see, because every day is different. So if they happened to turn up today, we would have had a total hip replacement. We've got a spinal surgery to do on a little Pomeranian. We had dogs having CT scans and MRI scans. There was lots of medicine cases. They were putting scopes down dogs' noses. There was exotic cases in birds and rabbits down there, all sorts of exciting things. So you never know what will happen at ARH on any one day.
So over the years, there have been a lot of kids learn a lot about being a veterinarian. Have any of them actually achieved that dream yet?
Because we're still in the infancy stages, so this is our first year. We're actually getting those kids where they're old enough, they're actually applying into vet school this year. So ask me that question again in about 1 or 2 years, and I think I'll probably have a pretty good answer for you at that point. But I have written quite a few reference letters for kids on their application in the last little bit. So hopefully we're going to see that.
If you saw an animal that was really sick or had been hit by a car, would you know what to do?
Yes, I would, because we learned CPR, and that was probably one of my favourite things. Yeah.
Is it hard to do? Because it's, they're different to us.
I guess it's sort of the same as doing CPR on a human. You do the chest compressions and breathing
But you have to actually think about what you're doing, because if you get it wrong, you might actually hurt an animal. So you have to just think about it.
Yeah, because they're not all as big as Toshka, are they?
No, like if you're doing it on a little chihuahua, you might push too hard or hurt it.
The one thing about our camps, we don't sugarcoat the profession. Yep. We show the kids surgery. They learn dissection. They learn anatomy. They realize that this isn't just about patting kittens and puppies. It's about medicine, and it's about learning the profession.
And do you think you'd come back again to another Future Vet Kids Camp?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Haven't you learnt it all now?
Well, there's heaps more
to learn. You can't never stop learning. It's just great fun.
Yeah.
That was Dr. Scott Bainbridge and Dr. Sarah Goldsmith from the Animal Referral Hospital explaining what Future Vet Kids Camp will be all about in January 2016. Kaye, tell me, why are you smiling?
My dad, Jack Browne, is visiting from New Zealand for a couple of weeks. I'm about to go to the airport actually and pick him up. So we should probably be asking him about our next topic, which is the top 10 tips for buying a horse, because he was a very successful trainer in harness racing back in the day.
But these days, horses are also much-loved pets for many people.
And a lot of ex-harness horses are much-loved pets as well. All of Dad's ex-horses became pets.
Okay, but of course they can be a very expensive pet.
However, Brian managed to get in touch with equine vet Dr. Olivia James from Brindabella, and she has some very practical tips for anyone thinking of buying a horse.
Okay, well, I think the most important thing when you're looking at buying a horse is actually getting a vet check done. I mean, we don't buy a car without taking to the mechanic and getting it checked over, because I'm not a mechanic. I don't know what goes on under the hood, and I don't have the ability to work that out for myself, so I pay somebody else to do it. So when we're talking about vet checks or pre-purchase exams, it's a very detailed exam of the horse to make sure that it's suitable for your intended purpose, and also that it's healthy enough to actually undertake what you plan to do with it. When we're generally just going to look over a horse, we're going to be looking at things like, how is their demeanour? Are they standing? Are they on their back with their legs in the air, or are they standing just quietly and comfortably? Are they kicking their belly? They might have colic. Nina's falling asleep here. She's quite relaxed. So we're looking at things like the eyes. Are the eyes clear? Is there any discharge here? The nose. Is there anything coming out of the nose? Are they coughing? Are they breathing comfortably? We look at their general body condition. Are they too fat? Are they too skinny? We like to be able to feel the ribs but not see them. So she's probably a bit borderline here. We can only just feel those. But
so she's much loved.
She is much loved. She's on a bit of a diet at the moment, and that seems to be going well. When we're looking at the legs, we're looking for any lumps or bumps. So we're running our hands down the legs, feeling for any splits or any bows in the tendons. Looking at the foot, any cracks in the foot. Looking at the skin, any lumps or bumps. Horses get tumours just like every single other species.
That was equine vet Dr. Olivia James from Brindabella with just a few of her top 10 tips when buying a horse. Now, you can actually see the entire story as a video on VETtalktv.com. Just click Pet Owners, then scroll down for the horses category. And hopefully we've managed to save you some money.
A lot of money. It's an expensive hobby, but a good one.
We might play that story to Jack Browne, your dad, and just see what he thinks about it. He might have something else to say. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, he's quietly spoken. He'd rather just have a good look at the horse before making an opinion.
So it doesn't run in the family that father and daughter kind of have an opinion?
What are you saying, two dogs?
So what's happening in the world of pet and animal news, Kaye?
Oh, I've got some great news for you this week. Very quickly, a 2-year-old boy managed to somehow fall into the family's dam on a property just outside Coffs Harbour. Now, no one knew about this except for Alex's buddy, a 9-year-old staffy called Layla. Apparently, Layla must have tried jumping in and trying to pull Alex out, because the first anyone in the family knew that something was wrong was when a very wet dog turned up. Alex's dad found Alex face down in the dam, feared the worst, gave CPR. Child was in hospital for 2 weeks. Doctor said, be prepared, could have brain damage. But I'm here to tell you good news. Little Alex is fine and dandy, and everyone's now looking at Layla as the heroine that she really is.
Absolutely. Wow, what a great story. Well, no doubt this story has kind of gone viral because people like this sort of thing. So what's been the feedback?
Well, you'd think it would be all positive comments. However, there have been a few negatives. People saying, oh, tut, every dam should be fenced.
Oh, you're kidding. What are the stock going to do? Well, they're going, I can't get in. Open the gate.
Open the gate so I can have a drink. Okay. Also, there were people saying, what were the parents doing? Why weren't they watching the child?
Okay.
These things happen.
They might be on 100 acres. Surely they just need to maybe up the training a little bit, perhaps, for the kids?
I don't know. Maybe put bells around ankles and wrists. I think that would help. However, my favourite comments said, good on Layla. Staffies. At last, it's a story about a dog that doesn't involve biting, because we all know that Staffies are nanny dogs. Absolutely gorgeous. So good on you, Laylee. But anyway, I would really like your opinion as to what you think on this story. Send us an email. By the way, speaking of nanny dogs, there's another cool story out of Washington State in the US about two lifelong doggy friends, Tilly and Phoebe. Apparently Phoebe fell into a concrete culvert and couldn't get out. She's a basset hound, so perhaps she might have been carrying, a little bit of extra weight. Tilly, a setter, stayed nearby, but apparently people in the nearby park said, every so often they'd see a reddish dog come up and woof at them, but she wouldn't let them come close or touch her. She kept running away. What they didn't realise until a week later is that Tilly was trying to get them to come and rescue her friend. Hallelujah. 7 days, no food, two very hungry dogs were rescued.
Wow. They're two great rescue stories back to back. It does just show you that dogs think, don't they? They understand danger. They understand something's wrong.
Yes, they do. I love it.
It's amazing.
And my last story for this week, I know when something is wrong. If you happen to go into the bathroom, if you normally just go and you don't bother about switching on the light overnight, you might want to think again, especially if you live in Queensland.
Why is that?
In the last week alone, a snake catcher has actually been called to retrieve not just one, but two pythons who are curled up inside toilet bowls.
Oh, no.
Da-da-da-da. Yuck. Seriously, apparently...
You'd really like that,
No, I would not like that. Apparently, because it's fairly warm and dry, the pythons have been looking for moisture. And of course what? And a nice ceramic bowl with water in it.
Perfect.
Absolutely perfect.
Their own spa, basically.
No.
Yeah.
When I first arrived in Australia many years ago, I was warned about redbacks on the toilet seat, and I finally worked out what they were.
And pythons in the pants.
No, and pythons in toilet bowls.
Okay. I've never heard of it before, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Any tips for keeping pythons out of your toilet bowls? Let us know and we will pass it on to all our listeners.
Thanks, KB.
A few weeks ago we mentioned in the Pet News about the work done by Dr. Richmond Lowe, also known as the Fish Vet, showing that fish, and goldfish in particular, actually think. Browne spoke to Dr. Lowe through the week and asked how he came up with this finding.
One of the key research areas was one that was done with goldfish hitting a lever to allow food to come down and be fed.
Well, that was the fascinating part that I read I heard in the news story that Kaye did, and I guess the perception of goldfish has always been they've been in a round bowl and they swim round and round and round. It's like, hello, hello, hello. And hopefully pet owners have moved on from here, but you've actually proved that they're far more than that.
Yeah, that's right. It's not actually work that I've done myself, but it's based on other research. So, yeah, with this research, they actually minimize the time in which the window of opportunity where the lever would work down to 1 hour a day. And the goldfish learned that only during this time that the food would come down. So they recorded a higher amount of hit rate during that small period of time.
How do you train a goldfish to click a lever to deliver food?
I guess a lot of animals and even a lot of men are gastronomically...
Just men?
Yeah, people love their food. So I guess it's not too difficult. Like for myself, I've trained my Oscar to jump up and eat food from my fingers.
Oscar's a fish, no doubt.
Yes, Oscar is a fish, and it's got a character of its own, and I think every Oscar owner will actually know which one is their Oscar,
right,
and wouldn't have no other one.
You've trained your goldfish to actually jump up and take food out of your finger?
Oh, no, my fish was an Oscar. His name is Oscar, and he was an Oscar.
Well, hey, we're not fish experts here, so you'll have to explain. What is an Oscar?
Oscar is a cichlid from South America. It's a large black fish mainly, and with red markings. You can get albino type.
Yeah.
But I tend to like the normal, wild-looking sort.
Okay. But what motivated you to sort of try and find out about fish's memories?
I guess it really annoyed me when everyone, when they go around and try to tell people how smart they are by telling people, did you know that fish have 3-second memories? And that really annoys me and gets up my spine. So
it was a search for truth, right?
Yeah, so I guess it's a quest to let everyone know that goldfish aren't as dumb as people think
As
they
people
are.
think. Well, that certainly shows someone who's very passionate about the topic. You know, no one seems to speak up for the goldfish. We speak up for whales and bears in China and all that sort of thing, but humble goldfish has suddenly got an advocate. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. I guess that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people don't really pay too much attention to fish, that they can't vocalize their pain or anything like that. Like a whale, you can hear the whale songs. You don't really go to a shop and say, can I buy goldfish sounds while I meditate?
No, but you've just given me a darn good idea. I guess the serious question to be asked, of course, is for everyone, like recreational fishermen and women and anyone who catches fish recreationally. Do they feel pain? Does this indicate now that fish do feel pain? Because I've heard conflicting reports.
Yeah, there's research showing that fish do feel pain. They did measurements in terms of blood pressure and cortisol release, showing aversion to pain stimuli.
Okay.
So, for example, if they feel that they get electric shock at a certain part of the tank and they don't like it, they don't tend to go there again.
Right.
So I guess we just have to be aware that fish do feel pain and take all the necessary precautions to minimize it if we can. Like for fishing, for example, you can use barbless hooks, which makes catch and release a lot less painful.
I think people are being a bit turned on to these sort of things now. I think a lot of that is happening at last.
Yeah.
One of the other things that came out of this news story that we did recently was people are not looking after their pet fish well enough. Is it not just as simple as throwing a bunch of fish in and feeding them?
Definitely, no, it's not. I guess for any sort of fish keeping, the biggest tank that you can afford, that's the best way to go.
Yep.
And then there is a setup process where you actually set up its environment and water and gravel and filtration all before you have your fish. It's sort of similar to when you're going to buy a pet dog, you actually equip your backyard or your garden, make sure it can't escape, and just do all the environmental stuff before you actually get the animal. I guess it's the same way with fish.
And no doubt do some research, which sadly a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, look, Dr. Richmond Lowe, thank you very much telling us all about goldfish. I've got a whole new respect for them now.
Oh, that's very good news to hear.
Well, not that I had any disrespect, but I hope certainly our listeners have a bit more of a think about some of the animals that we tend to take for granted. Well done. Good on you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Brian.
Bye.
Bye.
That was very interesting talking to him.
Yeah.
Very interesting, isn't it? That, you know, I guess it's becoming proof positive that goldfish are not just
calming and relaxing and beautiful.
Well, they are. They're all of that, but they also think.
Yeah.
Which is terrific. Fantastic. Okay, so next week, what have we got?
I thought you knew.
No. That's your job.
Well, I'm waiting for it to happen. I mean, we've got fingers and pies, veterinary pies, all over the country, waiting for some exciting story that we can bring you.
As soon as we know what's happening, we'll let you know.
See you then.
Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, we're now in iTunes. We're also on Spreaker. But best of all, just go to vettalkradio.com.au for all the latest updates.
And if you've got a particular topic you'd like us to do something on, let us know. We may very well do it.